Hi, this is Ajit CEO of Mind Valley Media and mentor at Sendpreneur. And today I'm with Sumi Krishnan, who is going to tell us a little bit about her project. What we are going to do later on this call is we are going to work with Sumi on one of her products that she's taking to the market. It's an absolutely new product, so we're going to work with that and see how we can get her to reach her goals or go even beyond the goals. Sumi, you're on.
Hi, everyone. Well, this is super exciting to be here and get this opportunity to do this one-on-one with you, Ajit. So thank you so much for this. The program that I'm looking to launch is called Lead Like a Woman, and it is a 6-month mentorship and I call it accelerator program for women entrepreneurs and change makers. So it'll take you through a 6-month curriculum. The first few months focused on personal growth and development, and then the next 3 months bringing all of that into your business and leading to real, business systems and structures and growth and all the stuff that goes into creating the foundation for a successful business. Mm-hmm. So it's December 6th today, and my goal is to launch this program sometime early next year, and I'd love feedback on sort of your thoughts about that too. I'm thinking maybe March 1st time frame to get 100 people enrolled in the program, and I'd love to, I have a financial goal of 300K. The monetary investment, currently I was going to do a program membership of $500 a month or $28.75 up front, but I'm open to sort of playing with those numbers too, because I've tweaked the program a little bit to be a little more business focused, to get a little faster ROI I think now, so we could play with those numbers as well.
Cool, that sounds fantastic. So what I'm doing while you're talking is I'm just taking notes for me to be able to refer back. Just to summarize, it's a 6-month program, Lead Like a Woman, so it primarily means your audience is women, and you're looking at an investment of $500 a month or $3,000 over the course of 6 months, or initial investment, and you deliver over the course of 6 months, right? It is mostly so first thing that I like to do when we are working on any promotion, any product, or any product going to the market is to be able to identify who are we really talking to. So it's commonly known as the term avatar. I'm just making a quick reference here so we know what we're talking about at this point. Okay, so the first step to anything is I don't even know if it's readable, but I'm just going to say it out again. So first thing that we do always is to know who is our audience. So for example, if I was to ask, and I'm just going to frame this question in a way that I can get all the bullet points about the clients from you, is if I was to ask you that, let's say these people didn't really pay you $3,000, they paid you nothing, let's say, or they would pay you only once you have actually given them the output that they should get. Who would these people be? Who would be these people that you would trust enough, or they would have characteristics good enough for you to be able to go, you know what, I am happy even if I'm not getting paid right now and I'm going to get paid after the program is delivered. Of course, that's not what we are going to do, but just to get the characteristics of our avatar. So who would these people be?
So I'm thinking it's the entrepreneur, the woman who has a big vision, first of all, like a big vision for her life and what she wants to create, and a lot of passion behind what she's doing. So she, might be a solopreneur just trying to start up something. Maybe she's a coach working, one-on-one with a few clients. She's maybe making a couple $1,000s a month, wants to, really break through and figure out what's holding her back and get to the next level.
Would you be able to say how much you would be making? A couple of thousand?
Yeah, maybe.
Like how much?
Maybe like 3,000 to 5,000.
3,000 to 5,000. Okay.
A month.
Cool.
Yeah, so coaches I think are a big market. Maybe she's even like a wedding planner or some sort of event planner. She could be like a yoga studio owner or some sort of like fitness studio owner, or anyone who wants to get a message out there, like an author or a speaker or somebody who doesn't really have a handle, though, on how to create a business.
Mm-hmm. What would you say based on your story? And I don't know your full story, so it will be nice to also know your story at this point. Is based on your story, out of these 5 different people that you mentioned, would maximum relate to you? You told me that the person could be a solopreneur, a coach, a wedding planner, a yoga studio owner, an author, speaker, or any kind of female entrepreneur, right? So who do you think out of these categories, if I was to pick 1, 2, or 3 of them, who would be the most relatable to you because they're related to your story in some way?
Well, I guess the coach is one, because I've always been drawn to sort of personal development my whole entire life, and now I'm a coach. So that's one. Like in my story, like fitness is a big part of who I am. In my story, I a couple years ago opened a CrossFit gym, and it's integral to my life. So anyone who's interested in that also would relate to me, I guess, that side of me. But my
Do you
main
own this
experience,
fitness business? Did you say
yeah,
that? Did you own it?
I owned it, but I sold it now.
That's okay. That's okay. That's a good thing if you sold it now. Great. It was sellable. That's awesome. So fitness studio, woman coach, and then you said you were saying something?
Yeah, like the majority of my experience has actually been as an entrepreneur, building a business from the ground up. Since I was 19, I started a government services business. So I did that from like 19 to 31. I'm still president of that company.
Okay, so that's fantastic. So what if and this is not because you can't explore other opportunity. It's mostly because when you go in and you're going in for the first time or the second time or even the third or the fourth time, you want to go in for a beachhead, as we call it. By a beachhead, it means you're targeting a very particular audience because that will kind of make your advertising a little bit more targeted. It will make your messaging a lot more targeted. It will make your partnerships a lot more targeted, and you won't be all over the place trying to generate what you're trying to generate. What you're trying to generate is a very reasonable amount. It's totally doable, but you will need partnerships, advertising, and some level of list if you have. I know you have a small one, but that's okay. You can do it within that list scope as well. But we will add in some more elements to bring predictability to the revenue that we want to generate and the amount of clients that we want to generate, because it makes worth your time as well that way. Okay, so would you be okay and comfortable saying that for the first round we focus on women coaches, fitness instructors or fitness entrepreneurs, and just female entrepreneurs in any business? It could be bricks and mortar or whatever. Does that sound fair?
You think that's specific enough?
That is still very broad. If I would go, I would go only women entrepreneurs or women coaches. So if I was to start a product tomorrow, or product launch tomorrow, I would go to the detail where I would go, this is exactly how the person looks like. So for example, would Sumi sell to Sumi? If you are your ideal client or something like that, you would say, okay, so what is it that I look like if I had an alter ego? So let's say you are on the East Coast, you find a picture of a person on the West Coast and you say, that's my audience. Debbie is who I'm talking to. And Debbie is a coach. Debbie has 2 children. Debbie is between the age of 35 to 45. She makes $5,000 a month, which means she has an annual income of about $60,000. She is a stay-at-home coach. Let's say I don't even know if that's your profile, but I'm just saying I would go to that detail and then I would work with Debbie, and that's the only person I will work with while I'm creating everything, because it also allows you personalization. So this is already pretty broad, but I don't want to limit your options. So what I want you to do, and this could be a later exercise, is to pick 1 of the 3, but these 3 have the most related story to you, is why I would start there. It feels like to me, because that's your longest story, is entrepreneur, female entrepreneurs, period. Maybe your best audience to go with, not the coaches, not the fitness studio people, but maybe entrepreneur, because that's the story that you have lived maybe like 10 years or whatever. So it's a very you can tell that story in a lot more. It has a lot more things to share, and maybe your actual program will also have case studies from it, I'm assuming. So that's
so broad. Like entrepreneur covers coach, covers fitness studio owner, right? Like it's kind of like the catch-all term.
Yeah, but at the same point of time, when you speak to an entrepreneur, you speak a different language than you speak to a coach, right? Because with a coach, you would be limited to how to get your first client. With an entrepreneur, you're not going to have that conversation, right? So that's why I'm saying
Yeah.
you could pick. Yeah, and it's okay. We can just go to the coach market if you feel more comfortable and more aligned, and you feel like that's the audience that you want to work with. Then let's stick with coach. What do you feel that you want to work with first?
I'm feeling like I don't like, to me, entrepreneur means anybody starting any type of business. So it leaves me like I don't know who to talk to
But we'll
a
we'll
little
talk to
bit.
Debbie only. We'll only talk to Debbie. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
so even if you say entrepreneur, it doesn't mean everybody. When you say
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur, you go, okay, entrepreneur, but what? The entrepreneur is a female. Like I said, she's a lady between 35 to 45. If that's our demographic, it could be 30 to 55. Doesn't matter, right? And then we'll pick an ideal age and where they live and what kind of lifestyle that they have on a daily basis. How much time would they have on a daily basis? And then we'll work with that. The problem with picking something like entrepreneur is that you might be delivering a very broad product, but that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean that they will not have results with it. So it's a choice. It's not wrong to choose entrepreneur.
Okay.
It's always better if you already, let's say, for example, if you tell me, and this is a stat that if I have more information, I will be able to go deeper into it. But if you go, you know what, I have 500 coaches on my list. So maybe your
Yeah.
first audience is coaching, not entrepreneurs, because then you can relate to them
Yeah.
first and better and easier. So if that's the story, then we switch it over and we go, okay, let's start with coaching. So we are looking for leverage. What we are really trying to
Okay.
find is to go, the first time we do it, let's have at least a minimum target outrageous goal, and we hit at least the minimum. Okay, so let's say you said you want to hit 300,000. So what I would say is let's make a minimum target outrageous of that. So by minimum, I mean what is the bare minimum that will make you feel at least satisfied and worth all the effort? Let's say for a ballpark figure, and I don't want you to disclose yours, you can write yours on your sheet of paper, but for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to put minimum as 150K, target as 200K, and outrageous as 300K. Okay, so I'm going to work with smaller numbers. We can flip it around and have minimum 300K, target 400K, outrageous 500K. It completely depends on how far your belief goes. So that's I will let you play with that. I'm using these numbers only for the sake of conversation and the call, because I want to make it also easy for people who will listen to this call to be able to go, oh, I can do this. So that's why I'm squeezing your goal down, but that doesn't mean I want you to limit yourself to what I'm saying. Okay, so
Okay.
so going from there, what I would say and suggest, based on what you just told me, which is the 500 people or 1,000 people on your list are coaches, I would say let's start with the woman coaching market. The reason why I'm saying that is leverage. So for anybody listening to the call, what you always want to find is what's your leverage. Well, your leverage means uh, what is it that I can immediately use, what I have, access to friends that I have, partners I have, or a custom audience I have, or Facebook group that I can target. Whatever that thing is, whatever you can leverage is something that you always want to start. And why? Because you want to make sure that you become successful really fast. Because here's what
Mm-hmm.
happens with entrepreneurs. If you lose in the first round, you get beat up and sometimes you give up. And that's just a path to, of course, not being successful, right? So
Yeah.
unless you have that muscle to be able to take those many punches, but when you're just starting out, usually you don't have the muscle to take those many punches. You need to build that strength to be able to be okay with failures. So I would rather have you set up for success for your first round, which is also why I say keep a lesser goal. It's okay. Sometimes people are making, like you said, there are people that you are addressing for a $3,000 program make about only $6,000, $60,000 a year or something like that. So if you even have a goal of 100,000, you're doing better than most of the world, right? 100,000 is, I think, pretty good in the US, right? So you're doing pretty decent. So I would just say work with a goal that looks reasonable and you can actually hit it. So you have the positive muscle that you build. Okay, so for Sumi's case, what we have decided is we are going to work with women coaches. Would you say these women coaches are a particular type of women coach? Are they usually business coaches, personal coaches, health coaches? Could be any kind of women coach, is it? Any field.
Any type of woman. Yeah.
The business system works for everything. Okay, cool. Would you say they are usually a particular demographic, like an age group?
I would say like upper 20s to 30s and 40s.
I would say 30 to 40-year-old. Does that sound like a good age range? Cool. Okay. Do you
Yeah.
think they're usually single? They're married? How are they?
Um,
Do they have kids?
no, I guess they're single.
Single, no kids, usually. Okay. So the reason why I ask these questions is because when we will actually think about the scripts that we are going to do for our videos, we know that we don't want to draw context to kids anymore because we know that our client doesn't have kids or doesn't have that restriction. Maybe their values are more towards say any particular way. I would like to know what is it that you think they value a lot?
Okay, they value freedom,
Freedom,
travel. Um,
travel.
they value making money, and they also really value making a positive difference in the world and like making an impact in some way.
Okay.
Okay.
So positive
So
difference. Would you say this is their deepest desire, freedom and difference? Their deepest desire? Like things
their
that they were
deepest
like, yeah, something
freedom and fulfillment. I think fulfillment.
fulfillment. Okay, so instead of positive difference, I'll just call it fulfillment.
Okay.
Okay, so those are the why we need deepest desires is we might address them as a video. So, but we are gonna
Okay.
get there when we get there. Okay, because
Okay.
deepest desire is why you want to is where people will really find that connection with you and hit it off.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to know what is it that they really want because they really don't want the money because money is actually not satisfactory after I think based on researches after 75,000 a year you don't care about money anymore. You actually want the other things. You just think you want money. You know, that kind of stuff. Your happiness level doesn't change and all that kind of stuff. So once you've established this, so we have a rough idea. I'm just gonna rewind it for you of what I understood, and you just tell me if this sounds accurate. Okay, we are talking to women coaches as any field. They're usually between the age group of 30 to 40. They're single. They don't have kids. They don't have anything tying them down. What they want is more freedom. They want fulfillment. They want to create a positive impact. They want to travel the world, and they want to make money in the process, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
They usually don't have an office, I'm assuming, at this point because they're
Right.
freedom and traveling, right? Cool. So no office as
Yeah.
well. No office. I'm just gonna write that. Okay. Do these people usually have a website or something, or they're still struggling with
Yeah.
that?
We have
They usually
yeah.
have a website, but would you say that's a crappy one because they are making 3 to 5 thousand a month? Yeah. Crappy website.
Totally.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Not to say bad about it, but I'm just saying, I mean, that's how you start at my first website was crappy. Anyways, moving on. So that's good. That's so I have an understanding of our client now. Now, the second thing that we want to know is what's the market maturity? What do I mean by market maturity? By market maturity, it means where is it? Where is the journey in the head of the person who will be your client? What have they seen? What have they already experienced? What do they already know? What's the level of maturity they have in the sense of the product that you're going to give? So it's also called market sophistication. I think it comes from a book called, which I cannot recall the name of it at this point, Breakthrough Advertising, if I'm not wrong. The book's name is
Okay.
Breakthrough Advertising. It's a heavy read, but the concept is this. There are 4 levels of market sophistication. Actually, you can Google a video called market sophistication and you will find it. Or I think it's called the number 1 product tip. It's on Mindvalley Insights. But basically what that is there are 4 levels of market. And what happens in these levels of market is 1 and 2 is where, say, when, let's say, razors came out, the Gillette razor. So when they came out, when they were dealing, like, first time ever, I think in the 1900s or whatever, the thing that they were selling people was you should shave. That's the market
Mm-hmm.
sophistication 1 and 2, that people are not even problem aware in some way. They don't even know that they have a problem. You're educating them that you can even do this. Okay? Market sophistication 3 and 4 is where they know that they need to do certain things, they just don't know how to, or they're going for a more advanced mechanism or a more advanced solution. Okay? So market sophistication 1 and 2 was how to, you should shave your beard. And 3 and 4 would be I have a twin blade, a 3 blade, I have this aloe vera strip, and it's all about, I don't have to sell them to the idea that why you need a razor, what kind of razor do you need is what I'm working with now, right? So the why and the core need of becoming a coach, I would say, and you have to tell me if this is correct because you're really in the market and I'm assuming it from what I have seen, I would say your market has already moved to level 3 because they
Yes.
have enough noise already for the past maybe 3 years or 4 years where everybody tells you need to do coaching. This is how you need to do coaching, right? But there's nobody who has introduced an advanced mechanism. All people are just saying is set up a website or whatever the thing that they teach these days, right? Or there's another one which says sell really high-end clients and do intensives. I'm talking on very limited information of what I have of the market. Do clarify
Yeah.
if I go off track, yeah? So what I would
Yeah.
love to know is where do you feel your market maturity is, and what do you
Hmm.
feel right now your market is thinking? Why is it that you would be a differentiator in this market, or why is it that, or what do you bring to the table that is significantly different to what is already available?
Hmm. So I think my market has sort of they're like, okay, so they're in their 30s, so they've had some experience. They've probably had a corporate job before, so they understand the world. They understand, the current systems of, bureaucracy and all of that kind of thing, and they have a drive to do something different. So they left their job. They started this coaching thing. They're making a living. They survive on their income, but what they want right now is like they want peace in their life. Like they want to feel centered. They want to feel like they know what they're doing every day, and they're not like waking up in the morning worried that where's their next client coming from. Like they don't also want to feel like they're running around like their life's a mess. So they probably feel like their life's a mess right now. Like they don't have their like things organized or their systems in place or their processes in place, or they're always scrambling. They probably don't have enough help and support. So that's where I think my program focuses on. Also, which other programs don't, is making them first of all come into their own skin and feel confident with who they are and why they're doing this, and take control of their life first, starting with themselves, and not even go into the business things until they find that rhythm first for the first entire 3 months, and then we transfer into the business.
Okay, cool.
That's
No, that's great. So you would
okay.
say that these people already have some, like you said, and I'm just repeating what you said just to confirm that we are on the same track, is you said they've already had a corporate job, they were sick and tired of it, and now they're looking for peace and balance in life in some way. Yeah? Cool.
They are looking, yeah.
This is
They left.
added information to your customer avatar that you're giving me. Would you say most of
Okay.
your avatar would fit this profile, that they've worked a corporate job and they're like, ah, shit, this doesn't work for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, most of your avatar is going to be like that. Cool, that's great. That's a great input because we can address that when we are working towards a hook in the story. Um, what I didn't get from you is where is the market at? So as a coach, what what do they already know, and what do they need to know? Let me simplify that question. What do they already know? They already know that they can do intensives? I don't know. I'm just throwing shit at you right now. I have no idea if that's how it is, but I want to know what do they already know, so I don't have to
Okay.
address it, and what do they need to know because they haven't had that different perspective, if I may.
Okay.
Mm.
So they need to know that. Okay, so they already know that it's possible to make money as a coach. They see coaches making 6 and 7 figures a year, but they're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Possible.
Mm-hmm.
What they don't know is, one, how to actually like deal with the technology and how to get those systems set up for their own business. Two, they may not always remember, like they've heard it and seen it, but they don't really take to heart yet like how important their own like focus on their personal development is in them having a successful business.
Mm-hmm.
And then they already know. They already know, like, I guess they've taken the time, like, they're either, like, they've gone through IIN, they're already certified as a health coach or a relationship coach, like, they already know their field.
Mm-hmm. They know their field.
But what they need to know is, like, the integration of their personal life with their business life.
Integration of personal. They need to know. Is that what you said? Right?
Yeah. They
Personal
need
to
to know that,
professional.
and they need to know, they need to feel really strongly about what difference their work is making in the world.
Cool.
They're not really clear. They're sometimes confused. Like, okay, I know I can make money as a coach because I see people doing it, but am I actually like making a real difference and not some sort of like pyramid scheme?
Okay, cool. Perfect. That is good information. So we know that they know that they can make money. So knowing that they can make money is not a problem. They know that they can do it. Uh, they know and they're certified in their field, so they're experts of their field. What they don't know is how to deal with tech, how do they deal with themselves, and how that is related to their professional gain, right? So I would say, so the next step, once we know what's the market maturity, so as a market maturity, I think you're still around 2, 3. You're not maybe 3 completely, but you're somewhere in the middle because you didn't say that they know how to really make the money, right? So that's the baseline, and I would say the maturity that means is not they know they can make it, but it feels like they don't know the process of it or the flow of it. So I would say their maturity lies a little bit lower, not really that high, which means that still the story. So what happens is at this point, once we know the market maturity, is we try to come up with 3 or 4 hooks or stories. By hook or story, we mean what is it that will get their attention to listen to you. And all you want to know is what's that story, that hook, that video, or that landing page that will get them to say, I want to know more. Okay, so that's what we call as the hook. The hook is something that's going to stay through your entire launch. It's the central binding story that you're going to repeat again and again to make sure that you have their attention because they would have said yes to that landing page. Okay, but at the same point of time, you want to make sure that you are not like any other landing page. Okay, so here is what your hook may look like, and I'm not saying this is how it is, but this is what we will start brainstorming now, which is the most critical part of your launch is going to be your hook. Once we have defined that hook, everything else is very easy. Cool. So, and that's the thing that you test as well as your headlines and as your copy. You always test the hook, and once you've nailed the hook, then everything is shebang. Everything is beautiful. Cool. So, your hook, I think, based on what you've told me, may look something like this. And of course, I'm not a copywriter, so I'm not going to write it like copy, but I'm giving you the gist of it. So your headline may look like something like this. Who else wants to know how to create a 6-figure income while maintaining your freedom, your peace, your happiness, or while maintaining the balance of your life? Something like that would be your headline. And then the subhead may go, Sumi Krishnan, an expert who's been working on this field, and now I'm making up facts, please clean it up, who's been working on this field for 20 plus years and has called hundreds of people on and have coached hundreds of coaches to create the business and the lifestyle that they desire. I think lifestyle is going to pick up with women a lot because based on what you gave me, it looks like they're looking for lifestyle. So I will tweak that word also in the headline, but play with more, create the lifestyle that you always desire. Never wake up with, and then the bullets can go. So the bullets would go something like this. I will show you the 5-step system so you never wake up worried about how you will create wealth, or you never wake up worried about how to get more clients. I'll show you the three-part formula that keeps your personal peace, or I will give you the 7 mantras that allows you to wake up with joy every day and travel as much as you want. So basically now what I'm going to do, or we should do, is try to hit every point that we think is going to talk to them at a deep level. And why the bullet points is because that's what the videos are going to be. Okay. So what we are doing is, if I may, I don't know if this is how visible this is. Let me flip the page. So the page may look like something like this. You can see this, right? I'm just going to drag it a little bit closer. Yes, I think.
Yeah.
So this will be, let's say, a pre-head. You can use any technology for it. I'm guessing you teach, so you already know, but you can use like Insta pages, lead pages, whatever you feel like. Or you have a software developer, or sorry, a website developer, you can use them. Here would be the headline. So here will be, who else wants to know how to create a 6-figure business or a 5-figure business while maintaining your freedom, okay? Then your subheadline will talk about something about you, because we want to build that credibility and trust. So it will talk about Sumi Krishnan reveals her 7-step formula of that she has used on 200 clients or 200 coaches while creating their business, while taking their business from 0 to $500,000 or 0 to $1 million, whatever the thing is, right? whatever you have case studies on and however many years you have. And then there will be, say, a sign up form to say, get Sumi's Coach Academy or whatever you want to call it, something that they're getting for free. Or Sumi's 5-part accelerated coach program or something like that. So you want to make it as if they're getting.
This is my product, or this is my
No,
freebie?
this is your freebie. These are your 3-part or 5-part video series. Okay?
Yeah.
So it could be 3-part, 5-part based on what we decide later on this conversation. But basically what you're saying is sign up for this stuff, right? And they are going to get, and now what happens is here maybe say your image or whatever, and here will be about 5 what we call as juicy bullets.
Okay.
What do these mean? This is basically a better way of putting out all these 5 videos. So what you would say, the format would be results. So dot dot dot. So what does that mean? That means, let's say you go, let me show you the 5-part series that, no, sorry, let me give you the 5. So in video 1, you will get the 5 steps to create the perfect sales pitch to get a high paying client. So you don't have to worry about getting new clients every day, right? Okay. So what you're doing is you're saying this is what you're going to get, and this is the benefit that you're going to get. Okay, so you're going result that you're going to get, so you don't have to look at that stress or so negative behavior, whatever you don't want. Okay, so you're kind of addressing all these points that you told me that they feel they don't know how to deal with tech. So maybe there could be a video that talks about, let me give you the 3-page template or the one software so you will never have to worry about tech again. Okay. Okay. So now what you have done is you have immediately gone, oh, so she's going to tell me about, so the 5 things that you feel are the topmost. I have 3 here from you, but there could be 5. It depends on how much we want to cover, and we're going to go to that one because we want to give enough, especially because you're a really high-end product. $3,000 for somebody who makes $60,000 a year is significant amount. It's 5% of their total income for the year. So it's a significant amount that we are seeking. So we will have to give them enough reason why for them to be able to say, yes, I want to do this, and this makes total sense, right? So for example, and this is now I'm going to the product side, is you could say here, one of the things that you can say is, let me give you the blueprint. And this is to precondition your clients before they actually buy the product. So what you're doing is, let me give you the blueprint of how to create a 5-figure income while you are doing your job or while you are doing your day-to-day and without working too hard. I mean, something like that. If you have one, of course, all these, I'm assuming you already have these templates. But if not, then we'll not promise, yeah? Cool. Yeah. So what you're promising is you go, I'll give you a template blueprint because later on, what I want to do is in my sales page, I want to make sure that they understand that they have the blueprint, and I'm going to give them exactly hand-holding structures. So when they invest $3,000, their return is 10x, which means they will make at least $30,000 out of that program. That make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. 10x is usually a good. You can do 5x, still is good, but 10x actually seals the deal because 10x is like, okay, shit, I put 3,000, I get 30,000. What more do I want? You know, that kind of stuff. So you would actually put that in the sales page. Yes. If you can promise, of course, we don't want to promise anything we can't deliver. So I'm just assuming that if you are working with somebody for 6 months, to get them to do 30,000 shouldn't be that hard. Over the course of 12 months. I'm not saying you have to deliver in 6 months. What you say is, this is what you will do in the first 12 months of your engagement with me. It could be 10,000. If 10,000 is the number and it's 3x, it's just harder to sell when it's only 3x. When it's 10x, it's very easy to go, it's 10x, it's a no-brainer, let's do it. Right? Yeah. You don't have to give a guarantee to it, to be very honest. You just say that's what is expected. This is what people are getting from me. And of course, if people are not getting those results, refund. It's fine. People usually, if people will work with you, they will get the results because usually there's just one thing that you got to do and you will make 30,000. For example, I got you to give X dollars to join Zenpreneur, right? After this call, if you get 10X results, would you ever question your investment in Zenpreneur? No, right? You'll be like, it's totally worth everything that I've done because I've given you 10X the results by getting one call with you, right? So imagine if that happens with your 100 clients. It doesn't have to be one-on-one call, but all you have to give is one breakthrough. For example, there was somebody who posted on our previous call where it wasn't a one-on-one call. I was just saying how to plan your 2015, and the person said that was worth the entire thing that have been for the entrepreneur, right? So that simply means that now I don't have to, like, I've given that reason probably to many people, but that person now in her own head has justified the cost of the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That is the same way how you justify the cost in your client's head by saying, you put in this money, this is the result you have got. Is it totally worth it? The person's going to say, hell yeah, because now they can replicate it for eternity, right? Because the formula will stay. So now they can keep making that money every year. They don't have to do the program again because they have the formula now. Cool. So that's why if you can deliver that result, it's always better. It's always better. Okay. Cool. Now, before we get into the actual journey of the client and the actual plan of the videos, so is this clear? Is this good? Is this good for you? Did you get an idea? Is there any questions related to this, or you understood what I meant here?
Yeah, just a quick question. Would you actually recommend literally putting the word "so" in each of those bullets after your result?
Oh, hell yeah. Put a "so."
Okay.
Yeah. It's. Okay. I mean, if you can write it in a better way where you can communicate it, it's great. But I just it's just 5 bullets. It doesn't matter. It's you don't want to make it super. What I would add, because you're doing this for the first time, if I'm not wrong.
No, I've done like squeeze pages before, but this a program like this.
Yeah. Does your audience know you? Does your audience
probably not?
Probably not, right? So what I would do is I would add about Sumi.
Yeah. Okay.
And I would load it with testimonials, as many as you can.
Okay.
Why? Because right now they don't have any trust, but remember they see a lot of squeeze pages and landing pages.
Yeah.
So they get a lot of offers because we know that our market is crowded for sure. What they don't know is the perfect formula. So what I would do is I would maybe repeat the sign-up form 3 times over the course of the entire page. So I would do one sign-up form right after the headline, sub-headline. Then I would do bullet. Yeah. I would do about Sumi. I will put another sign-up form. I would put testimonials, and then I would put another sign-up form. So I would put about 3 sign-up forms broken into the entire page. I would make sure that if you have been featured in a magazine, newspaper, TV, anywhere, ever, for any other reason, it doesn't have to be because of your coaching, put those logos here.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So what the idea is, you're promising them X results, but you're also building your credibility. The reason why you need to build that credibility is because people don't know you at this point.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Which is also, if I don't know if you have a great video team to support you in this, but if you can, have a video here. So where you have the juicy bullets, have a video, and the video simply talks about what they are going to get if they sign up. So you're talking about these 5 bullets and this headline, but just in a very amicable, women to women, that kind of heartfelt way, so they can see your personality, they can see who Sumi is, and they can see who they're going to work with. Right? It's very important in the market like yours. Right? Because they need to connect with you to be able to invest that kind of dollars with you.
Right.
Cool? So you want to induce your personality as much without worrying about how the conversion rate is going to be. Your conversion rate on a page like this could go anywhere from 30% to 70%, depending on the quality of copy. Okay? On this page. We've tested this many times as a format. And a lot of my friends have tested this as a format. It's a little bit lesser than a squeeze page. So if you drop just a headline and just put a form, usually you'll get 70-80% conversion, but it builds zero trust with you and the audience. So your overall sales conversion will drop. I mean, we've proven that. We have done this test already. If you put a simple squeeze page, especially for your audience, I would say, don't do that. Even if majority of the world says to do that, or yes, you'll have great conversions, and do that as a follow-up when you're just building a list. Right now, we are trying to get your program out. So what we are looking for is those 100 clients, right? So let's really build a freaking trust with these 100 people, right? So that's the thing. So try to build as much personality, yeah? Cool.
Cool.
Okay. And that also because you're working with females, it's always more aesthetic works better. Because women don't like crappy shit, right? So, I mean, guys can fall for it, women don't fall for it. So that's why the way I said the headline also is not probably how you want to write the headline. You want to write it in a way that it appeals to women. Cool? So that's how our landing page is going to look like. Cool? Now, do you know the 6 triggers of influence by Robert Cialdini?
No.
Okay, cool. So that's a book that you need to pick up. You can do it as a leisure reading over Christmas or whatever. It's a pretty heavy book, but at the same point of time, It's very, very important for you as a marketer, and especially if you're going to train coaches, they need to know these triggers of influence as well. There are basically 6 triggers of influence. First is called reciprocity. Reciprocity is where when you give something to somebody, the person, even if you don't ask for it, wants to give something in return. A favor, do something for you, connect you with something without even you trying, right? Which is why the
Okay.
concept of giving free videos of launch, how you
Yeah.
said you want to do 3 videos and everything. The reason
Yeah.
why you do that is because you're giving something to somebody without expecting something in return. So when you actually trigger the sales, they feel that at least they should listen. And that's all we want for the sales page, because once the sales page is good, it's going to get them to convert, right?
Got
They're
it.
going to say yes. So first thing that you want to make sure is we have the principle of reciprocity set up. Secondly is commitment and consistency. This is why we have sign-up forms and we have
Okay.
comment boxes. Because once, let's say you start something, as human nature, you want to finish it. So if I've started this call, I want to finish it. If I've started writing, I want to finish the statement. If I've started building a page, I want to finish it. So anything that you start, you want to finish, which is why signups work this way, is why you want to get people to sign up to something, or you want people to comment on things because they have shown commitment to the process and they have shown engagement to it. Cool? So that's the
Okay.
principle of commitment and consistency. There's something, again, through the pages that we design, we'll always want to look for it. Third is social proof. Social proof simply means that if I have many people doing something, I'm more likely to do it. A classic case would be, say, when the iPhone comes out, because all my friends are getting the iPhone, I must get the iPhone. Because everybody is jumping onto something, you want to jump onto that, and you want to at least figure out what it is. This is why we add these testimonials everywhere. Because everybody is doing it,
Yeah.
I must do it. This is why we try to get partners to email at the same time, because everybody is talking about it, it must be good. That's why we want to do Facebook and have a really high engagement there and invest the money in there, because people see you again and again and again. They go, I see this person everywhere, there must be something good. That's social proof, trying to create that thing. Best way to do it is, of course, testimonials, because now they see somebody actually who's bought the product or worked with you or can vouch for you in some way. Cool.
Okay.
Fourth is scarcity. This is why everything is time limited in any sale, or Apple always keeps running out of their iPhones, or your program will be limited to X number of days to apply, is because you want to hold people to a date. And when there is scarcity or limitation to something, people used to tend to actually work with the person or want to take the decision right now. They don't want to delay it, and you don't want people to delay your decisions, right? We don't have to be a hard ass about any of these things. We'll do it in a very nice way, but these are just the core principles. So scarcity as a word is bad, but you get the concept. It can be communicated in a very effective way. Then is authority. Authority is why I asked you to put these logos, which means if there are magazines, books, blogs that have mentioned this person, means this person must be an authority. This is why when you put a video here, make sure it's done in a nice setting with a really HD camera, if you do it. If not, then these shots that show up here, which I think you already have, are high quality professional shots and not crappy shots, because it sets you as an authority, because it looks like that you've got your shit together, right? So and because you're also mentioned on all these things. Cool. So you want to establish that authority. Lastly is liking. This is why I asked you about your story, because if you know the story of the person, you tend to find points where you connected to this person in many ways, and you build a liking for that person. So what you want to make sure is there a certain level of liking that is created with you as a personality. This is why you need to know your avatar, because now you will speak to them like you're friends with them, like they're your buddies, and that will build liking with them. Okay?
Okay.
So with these 6 principles, and with these 6 principles everywhere, you would be able to craft any marketing ever. These are like 6 best ways to create influence. Now, when you write headlines and subheadlines, there's a very specific formula for it. It's called ABCS. It's called attention, benefit, curiosity, and specificity. Here's the reason why I said, let me show you the 5-step system that will create $600,000, blah, 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 blah. The reason is because it has specificity. It has exact numbers, right? And I said, Sumi has worked for 20 plus years with coaches, consultants. Sumi, are you there? Hello? Are you there?
Oh, bar. Okay. Yes.
Okay, I think it just got cut out in the middle. But anyways, what I was
Uh,
saying was you want to go A, B, C, S, which is
yeah.
attention, benefit, curiosity, specificity. This is why you want to say I've worked for 20 years on something or 5 years on something because you're showing specificity to that. I've worked with 376 clients is because it's specificity to it. You want to say attention in some way. That is why who else wants to know? You are
Okay.
going for benefit. This is why you're saying you will create a 5-figure business or a 6-figure business. Let me show you my
Yeah.
5-step system creates curiosity. What is this 5-step system? What are you talking about? Right? So these are the 4 things. If you put into your headline, you usually have a winning headline. Winning headline, winning subheadline, both are like this. So now at this point, what I've given you is a template to follow. I've given you the 6 triggers that will go throughout the page. I've given you how the page is going to look like. I've given you what your so bullets are going to look like and how your headline is going to shape. Okay, so we've got the full flow of how people will walk in to you. Okay, this is the page that'll go to your partners. This is the page that'll go to your list. This is the page that'll go to your Facebook feed. This is the page which will run on advertising. Cool. Cool.
Cool.
So that page is
Yeah.
sorted, okay? And the hook and the story we've established already. It is the 5-part system or the 7-step blueprint, whatever the steps are. Though that blueprint to allow people to get the success that they want, which is 5 to 6-figure income in the scope of 12 months. Cool.
Okay.
And that's our hook.
Yeah.
That's our central story for all women coaches. Okay. Now what happens after this is now you're taking your clients to a journey, pretty much. This is where your clients go from a place of problem to a place of solution. The solution that we have offered is basically the results, the money results and everything. One more thing that we need to understand is right now we are working with people's ambitions. Because if you think about it, as a human need that we are tackling at this point is not something, because they've done the corporate job. They know they can make money. They probably have decent amount of money in their bank sitting because they just left the corporate job or they're still in it and yet they're kind of trying this out on the side. So money is not a problem. Their problem is that they're more ambitious than how humans traditionally have been. Traditionally, if you think about, say, 50 years ago, we were fighting for food at some level, right? Or not let's say not 50, but 100 years ago, we were fighting for food. We were trying to get the basic feed needs met and all that kind of stuff. Whereas now we have those basic needs. That's not really a problem anymore as a human being, or at least not to your audience anymore. Their problem is more that their goal, their ambition is really high. They want to achieve something that before countries were trying to achieve. Now as human beings they want to achieve, right? So freedom has become personalized in some way, right? So
Yeah.
what you're looking for as a solution is also to deliver ambition, which is why everything that we are going to do in the middle must be representative of that ambition. What does that mean? That means every video that you create, the people that you're talking to, you're not only talking to their problem or pain, you are actually talking more to their ambition.
Yeah.
Okay? Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Also
Totally.
because if we are fulfilling their ambition, it's okay to charge a higher price because this is an ambitious thing. It is not something that you're solving a pain. It's not a back pain which you can take a pill for. This is your life's purpose. Very, very high need, very, very high level conversation that you're having at some level, right?
Yeah,
Fair point?
right.
Cool. So you want to always address their ambition, which means you want to always mention your story of whatever journey you've had and your success with coaching. Okay? Because that will allow them to be able to see they can get here. Cool?
Yeah.
But this is a subtle thing that we are going to have always. So I just wanted to give that as a reminder before we even get started on what videos we are going to do. Any questions at this point?
Nope.
We're good? Cool.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up one of my templates and we are going to try to do your video format, okay? So everything is templated usually, or at least that's how you want to play it. You want to always play it as if, what if there was, like, there's a template, it's always easy to follow through on that, right? So the template one is, first is you always want to introduce yourself. Okay, so this is where, let's say I sign up and you go, okay, so this is Sumi, and then you would give your story to them. You will tell them about yourself a little bit. We also call it as expert story. in many terms and in many ways. So it goes, okay, so this is who I am. This is why my journey is important for you to know, because that's where we'll create that likelihood and that connection that we need to create. And then from there, what we would do is we would show them somehow and get them somehow some results. It's called results in advance technique. This basically means is before even you start working with me, I'm going to show you that you can get results. Why do we do this? Because now they have built a tremendous amount of trust at this point, right?
Yeah.
So now because they have that level of trust with you, you can go in and you can actually talk about how you can do one more results in advance, which is you can give more content that they can immediately take and use it. We are going to break it down as well into what script format you will have, or you can go next level, which is give them social proof, which is basically work on a case study or work on how some client of yours went from one place to another. What we are doing is over the course of this time is as we are going up, we are building desire. We are building desire towards you as a person, your lifestyle as a lifestyle, and lastly, what you're building desire to is the outcome that they will get. When you were doing the first two, you were still building desire to their outcome because, like I said, they are always looking at you as them in many ways. Okay, fair point?
Yeah.
Cool.
Fair point.
So what we are doing here is we are working with these 4 videos. I think you should not do 3. I think you should do 4 to even 5. The reason is just because you are getting started. The reason is only that because you're new in the market, people may or may not know you. They may or may not go, is it good enough or not good enough? So I would do a little bit extra. I would like to overdo it. Okay, cool. So that's what I would do. But you can choose to do 3 if you want.
This is like video 1, video 2, video 3. Yeah. The intro is just video 1?
Yeah, as soon as they sign up. Of course, you will do more than an intro, but intro is your core concept of the video. So this is core concepts, but I will tell you what you would really do in each of these videos. Okay? So based on what you told me, and I'm winging everything, okay? So this is the first brainstorm. Usually when you will work on it a little bit more, you would get better results because you'll be able to think about your avatar a lot better. But I'm going to try to address it, okay? So in your first video, you would go something like this. You're going to repeat what is the promise that they're going to get in the next 4 videos. So you're going to literally go, thank you so much for signing up. This is Sumi. And I want to walk you through how to create a 6-figure business in the next 12 months. And I want to give you that blueprint by the end of this presentation. Stick around in this video because I'm going to show you exactly how to get access and an exercise that we'll work with together to create that plan for you. Okay, so you would do something like that, and then you would go, okay, but before we get in there, let me tell you what may be something you are feeling right now. Okay, and then you will go in and you will address the place they're at. Okay, why we want to draw that place is because once they know and they can acknowledge that they're at that place, we can take them to wherever we want them to go. Okay, so what you would go is you would go, so as steps, and so you can write it and I can write it. First you are doing is you are justifying or acknowledging your landing page or your learning that you're going to get as a client. Okay, that's the first thing that you're doing. Second thing that you're doing is you're addressing the place they're at, addressing the place or addressing the pain that they might be in. Okay, so you will address the place by saying, I know right now you might be feeling frustrated because you've tried everything and everybody tells you to do these online marketing, but to set up a WordPress blog and you want to take off all your hair, or you don't have enough time because you're doing 3 jobs at this point, or you are at this place where you've got the certification and everybody said once you have the certification you'll be successful, but you've just not gotten or seen that first check, or you've seen the first few checks, but you wake up with the frustration, irritation, and concern about how will the next client come through, or you have not been able to sign a big deal. Whatever these common 5 or 6 frustrations are, I would go ahead and say that, and then I would go something like, I have been there and I understand exactly where you are, and then you start going into your story of how you were at that place and the place that you have come to. Now, of course, I'm not telling to create a story. I'm just assuming that you already have a story like that. If you don't bring it up. Take the story, from a different place by saying, my client was at that place, and here is how I helped her. It's always powerful if it's your story because that builds liking, but at the same point in time, if it's not, then use somebody else's story for them to take the journey at the end result. Okay, the end result is where you're making that kind of money or more. Okay, so it's better if you're even doing 6 figures, because now 30,000 or 5 figures looks easy for them to create because you are a 6-figure coach. Okay, so that's what you're going to do, and you're going to go, and in this video, and this is what we have established already when we were acknowledging what they're going to get, we also tell them exactly what they're going to get at the end of this video. Okay, so here, when you introduce yourself, your story, after this, you will give them a framework of what they're going to get. Okay, so let's call it the blueprint for now. Okay, so you're going to give them the blueprint of what they're going to learn, but this is how you're going to give the blueprint. You're going to go, okay, so there are 3 steps, 3 very specific steps that you have to take to be able to create a 5-figure income for yourself. The 3 steps are, and then you will make a blueprint of it. The reason why I say make it is because visual is always easy to understand, where else when I talk and I don't draw anything, it's going over the head after a point. That's why you're writing, because it makes it visual and you're acknowledging everything that you're getting out of this call, right? So what I would do is I would go 3 things that you need to do. So let's say I'm just going to take an example of our call, but whatever is applicable to coaching. You'll go, okay, the first step is we will define our avatar. The first thing that you need to know as a coach is you need to know who you're talking to. Okay. Second thing that we need to know is what's the market maturity. The third thing that you need to know is what is the, I don't even know what I said as the third thing. What is the story that you're doing? Okay, so let's say if I was launching a product about launch, that is what I would say is what you are going to learn in the next 3 videos. Okay, or next 4 videos, where I would say, I'll give you a template to replicate everything. Okay, so what I've said is these are the 4 things that you're going to get. And what I want you to do after this video is I want you to first go ahead and answer these 4 questions. And these 4 questions may be the questions that I asked for the avatar, right? So what I would do is I would go, okay, so I want you, but before I send you the next video, I want you to go ahead and answer these questions. Who are you talking to? Where do they live? What's their age? Blah, 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 blah. Whatever are the things that I asked you for the avatar are the questions that you ask. Now what happens is you tell them also to post those questions in the comment box below. When you are doing that, you are again creating engagement. You're getting to know your audience even better. Now you can even, next time, if you want to create really high engagement, you can take somebody's avatar from there, right? And the next video will be actually, which is the results in advance video, where you will go, okay, so this is how you work with an avatar. Okay, and you say, this is what you told me about the avatar. This is how you work with the avatar. This is why we are asking for the avatar. So you're giving them the concept. You're giving them why you need to know and what you're reinstating. So next video will start something like this. So hi, this is Sumi. In the first video you learned this. In this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through how to exactly use your avatar to close more sales, for example, right? So now what you're going to do is now they know that they're going to learn about sales by the end of the video. So your email will also draw that context. So they're going to stick with the video. Secondly, they already know the result they got from you. So they kind of are building it up, and if they were not there on the first video first, they will tend to go back. So always your page will always have link to first video, right? Because you want them to consume as much information with you, because they will create the liking, they will get the result, and so they're likely to make a purchase with you. Okay, so now what you would do here is when you have, let's say, talked about the avatar and now you're addressing how to make sales, you're going to give them 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 case studies of how somebody has used avatar to make a sale who were your coaching clients. The reason why we are doing this is here I'm giving them social proof while giving them results in advance, right? Because now it's become believable in their head. And like you said, coaching is not only about the business practice, they need to balance it with personal growth, right? So what you're doing is you're actually shifting their mindset of they can do it because this other 5 people did it working with you. This also creates certain level of case studies with you, which means people are now a lot more going, so she actually knows what she's doing. Okay, while you're doing this, what I would also go ahead and do is I would take up any of the myths or beliefs that the people may have. So for example, People might go, oh, for 30,000, I need to know all this technology. Or let's say the goal is 100 grand for every coach that signs up with you, okay? So for $100,000, I need to figure out the technology. But do you really? For 100 grand, you probably don't. You probably just need to set up a website which you can pay 500 bucks for. Or you can set it up on some, like these website builders or whatever. Or start a
Right.
Tumblr blog and still get 100 grand, right? So that's a myth. It's like, no, if you want to make a six-figure income, you don't need technology. All you need is a blog, which you can get for free. You don't even have to pay anything for it. But this is how you would do it, right? So you're addressing
Yeah.
these myths. Why? Because you want to create, at this point, what people are going is, she's like anybody else. She's also teaching me all this stuff, which I've learned somewhere else, right? So people are
Yeah.
always that skepticism. We're taking that out, right? So what we are
Yeah.
addressing also, if you'll think about it, is right now we are taking them through a sales process without them realizing that they're going through a sales process, right?
Yeah.
Because you have given them case studies, you have given them the myths that they might have, you've given them how to create an avatar, and they are identifying themselves and saying, hey, I fit into the scheme of things that we're talking about, right? Now, once you have done this, the next thing that we are going to do is we are moving into the realm of ambition, because at this point I have solved their problem of them not being able to believe themselves. I've given them some results in advance. They can see progress already. Now we have to move them to as far and as further in the ambition we can. Okay? Because ambition is where their results lie, right? This is where they will have the solution when they actually plow through and actually go and achieve their ambition, right? So the third video I would do, or I would start with something like, okay, so this is the opportunity we have as coaches. And this is where you will talk about the higher things that you were talking about. So you will talk about the opportunity is freedom, the opportunity is fulfillment, the opportunity is making good in the world, the opportunity is to be able to serve your family, your friends, and really play and live the life that you want to live, right? So right now what I'm
Mm.
doing is I am showing them that me, I am as a person, so Sumi as a person is somebody who has all these things, even if you're implying them without saying it, at the same point in time, you can have it. So you're speaking to their ambition, okay? And you're saying that
Yeah.
this is what you're going to get if you stick with me in this video, okay? But what am
Mhm.
I going to give in this video? My third thing was market maturity. Okay, so this is what I will actually train on in this video, is talk about market maturity. But before I go there, I would go ahead and talk about the ambition. And if I can, I would tell my story again, but this time in context to ambition. So here was the context
Okay.
of journey where they are. Now it's the context of how you aspired to be somebody and you are there now, right?
Yeah.
So the story is
So
same, but context is different.
so the emphasis and the length of time spent on each aspect will have shifted a little bit. Maybe a additional example or something and how I have achieved it versus an additional example of how much pain I was in.
Exactly. Yes.
Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you will talk about the end goal, end result a lot more here. There you will talk about your
Mhm.
pain a lot more, like you said. Exactly. Right. So just the time will shift. Okay. So what I would do here is I would go ahead and tell that story. I would establish that ambition. I would say how they want to be there and you have been there and all that kind of stuff without being boastful, because we want to create that likability, of course, and women don't like boastful people generally. Uh,
Yeah.
and then what you go ahead and you do your training again. So you talk about, so one of the biggest things that I realized when I achieved what I wanted to achieve is I really knew my audience. So yes, we know the avatar, but what is it the place they're at? What is it that they're sick and tired of? What is it that they really want? Do, let's say, and I'm not 100% educated on this, but for example, one of the things could be that I've been told by another coach is when you're working with high net worth clients, they actually don't care about that much about training. They care more about being able to have a conversation and being able to have a follow through, and somebody that helps them follow through and break through that emotional barrier that may be created or whatever, and work with their beliefs more than work on like the tackling of smaller stuff. So they don't need business advice; they need more personal advice in some way, or energy advice, like not spiritually, but you know what I mean. So that was one
Yeah.
of the things. So if that's the thing, and that's true, and that's what you're teaching them to get high net worth individuals, then you would go, do you know that market maturity will go like this? And so when you go ahead and tell them about, I can teach you how to make more money, you're talking to the wrong person, because they don't want to know how to make more money. They know how to make more money. They are choosing not to make it because of blah 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 blah, right? So you're
Yeah.
different conversation that you need to have, and because you address that, you've given them something profound, something that they can take straight away in the next conversation that they have. At the same point of time, you build that ambition, and what I would close this one off is by going, maybe addressing 3 to 4 questions which may
Okay.
be at this point in your client's head, like, okay, I'm getting all of this, but can I get a sales script, or can I? But how do I really sell? I find it so uncomfortable doing that. And do I really need a website? If that is still a question, and if that has not been addressed before, or I don't want to blog anymore, or I don't want to run a blog. What is there any other option? Is it all about the internet? All these kind of questions which may be in their head at this point, which you haven't addressed already as a myth, you want to address here. Again, the reason why we are doing it is because in the sales page, we are going to reuse what we said here. So you will see everything that we have built here. Most of this will be reused on your sales page. So when you write once, you're actually writing it for the future too. So you're not using it only once, you're using it many times over, because it's the same story that you need to tell for selling something. Okay, cool. So
Okay.
that would be our third video. I would close off again by saying that challenging them in some way to be able to go ahead and write down what their market maturity is at this point, and be able to really elaborate on it. So that way you're again creating one more layer of engagement. Or you can ask them to tell their stories so you can work with them or address them in your next video. Okay, and you can work with some sample stories. You actually don't have to wait for the stories here. You can survey your audience and you'll already know what kind of stories you're going to get, and you can just address them in the last one. The last one is where you're going to address some social proof. Here is where you're going to tell about how people have got success with you, because at this point they're already pretty well trained. Okay, they're trained, they know their avatar, they know their market maturity, they know who they're talking to at this point. All they need here is now they are looking for a result, a deeper result, something that they can touch, feel, and it's like a tactical information that you're giving in some way. Okay, so this was transformative information if you think about it, because this is something that I can't tell you that knowing I can only tell you how important it is to know the avatar, but I can't give you a result on it. But what I did to give you tactical advantage, for example, is I gave you the template for a landing page. That's a tactical advantage that you have versus anybody else, because now you know how to exactly design a landing page, right? So at this point, what I would do is I would stress on as much social proof I can. So I would take some stories from your survey, I'll address them. I would tell about the stories that you have had similar to those stories and try to address them and try to communicate them. And lastly, what I would do is I would give them, if I was the person doing the launch thingy, I would give them a template of the sales page at this point. And you can give them a template of how to really talk to a client that they want to sign with you after that. It could be just a rough outline of a script. It doesn't have to be an exact, but something that they can say, holy shit, this is worth $3,000, right? I can make $3,000 with just this one thing, right? And because I have created that, what happens when I go ahead and pitch and I actually talk about all this and a further 5-part blueprint system, now the value of 3,000 is nothing, right? Because I already made $3,000 with you, right?
You mean, but this whole thing was the 5-part blueprint. That's what we've just covered, correct?
Yeah, but we haven't really. If you think about it, I've just given you some parts of all these things. Can I talk 3 more hours about the avatar? Yes. But what I've given you is enough for you to work with and take one step forward, walk with me. And I've given you, even if I've given you a landing page template, I can still put a $600 course up, which will talk a lot more about the landing page template, about a lot more templates, a lot more theories, a lot more examples, because the information that you have, you may not realize it sometimes, the information that you have is far greater and deeper than all of this. Like you said, for the first 3 months, if you're going to work with them just on personal growth, there has to be more personal growth that is not being covered in this place, right? So that's what the program is about, because it's a full transformation versus just the gist of the transformation for them to get an immediate results to be able to justify $3,000, right? So when you're giving this away, for that matter, you can say this sales script that I've done or giving you away right now, I've built it over the past 8 years. And it has costed me hundreds of thousands of dollars because I researched books, I talked to consultants, coaches, blah, blah, blah. Try to create all these super templates to be able to give you one script that if you follow, you should close. If you're closing at 10% right now, you will close at 30% to 40% to 50%. I don't know what's an average close rate, so don't mention 10 to 50. Whatever is the average to a higher average, whatever your sales script usually does, right? So what you are wanting to do is that, okay? So once that happens, the last video then will be simply either a sales video or a sales page, whatever you think is right for you. I think at a $3,000 price point, people would want to know you, hence you should do a video, not a page, Or even if you do a page, stick a video on top, because I think $3,000 is something that would require. One thing that I've usually found with $3,000 price points or a higher price point, anything above $1,500, is if they can call, it will always convert better. Which means
Okay.
you give the sales page, but at the same point in time, you say it's a vetting process, or you say somewhere where people can't really, yeah, it's application only, or whatever is the thing that you want to do, and there's a phone number to call. The phone goes to your assistant or goes to you, whatever way you feel like, and there's a sales script that you follow for them to actually take action. And they have the two pitches of $3,000 or $500. If you have not worked on sales pitches on the phone previously, I would recommend a book. It's called Spin Selling, SPIN, Spin Selling. Buy that book, read it. It has all templates that you need, and it should help you create a really kick-ass script for people to say yes to your coaching program. At this point, though, you've built enough trust that I think you will be able to close very effectively on the phone. I am still not certain about if you can check out through a page. I've not tried to sell a $3,000 program like ever, pretty much, on the page, so I might be wrong. But look at the case studies in the market. If there have been people who have been able to sell, then maybe you can as well. I just don't know about it. I would assume that I would want to call somebody if I'm buying something for $3,000, unless I know you personally. So I would spend $10,000 with you if I just know you already. I've talked to you once, then I don't need a phone call. But if that's not the case, I would usually want a phone call.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So.
Cool.
I had a personal question, I guess. So, as we were going through this, and I was thinking about the avatar that we had discussed in my head, and I'm thinking, my main service is like maybe for the market maturity of the 3-person, because my main focus is, yes, they're going to be making more money through my program, but that's not really like the main focus of the main benefit. Like, it's going to be a side benefit, but the main benefit is going to be for them to finally feel like their life is in order and they're not like running around like a crazy person all day long,
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, and I'm just like, I don't know that's like as sellable as like, you bring your business to 6 figures. So I'm sort of like tossing in my head which one to lead with.
No, so lead with what you're really giving, because I'll tell you what, market is available for everything. We just feel that it's not there because sometimes we have not interacted with that market. But you're so early in your business, based on what you had told me over the email, that I wouldn't give a rat's ass to what the market says that you should be selling to, because your business is just starting. Your business is just starting. That simply means that don't worry about if the world says that you will have more audience because they're just startup coaches. They're more pain in the ass as well. So if you don't want to compromise your freedom, don't work with those people. Work with the people that are your people, and that's absolutely okay. There's nothing wrong about it, right? So what I would do is make that choice based on what. So here's an exercise that I like my clients to do when I'm working with their own avatar. I didn't have the time to go through that exercise with you, but what I do is and that's why I told you to write down the characteristics of the person, because when you go one step deeper into characters, you will say, that person only calls me when they're really in need, because they're self-sufficient, they're smart, they know what they're doing, they're already in the market, they've played this game for 3 years. And that's the characteristics that will define one step further of what your audience. So, for example, when I have to work with a business, I don't work with a business that is under 200,000 or 300,000, because I know that the systems that I have to put in place for that is not something I want to play, because I've done that long enough. I don't care about it as much anymore. I want to work with where I can create the highest leverage, and I know if a business is at 300,000, I can take them to $1 million in the scope of 18 months, right? So my audience, I don't work with an audience if you're doing anything below 300,000, right? But I work with you between 300,000 and 5 million. That's my sweet spot. From 5 million, I can take you to 10. From 10, I don't know if I can take you to 20. I did that for Mindvalley, but I don't know if I can do that again while I'm working remotely with somebody. So I don't have a system for it yet. So I would say whatever is your system and whatever it suffices, work with that audience. There's enough people in the world at different places that want your results. And that's why you sometimes can price higher your products, because it's a smaller community and people know very few people are offering that service. So don't worry about it. I would say if you know that you don't want to work with somebody who's not doing at least X dollars or doesn't have a website, let's say, for example, don't talk to them. Create the same trainings, but for a higher level, for a market that already is educated a little bit and only cares about your mechanism. There are enough people like that. it shouldn't be a problem at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think there are those people like they're making $100K a year probably as a coach, but they're just too frantic and frazzled, and it's they want that rhythm, they want that consistency, and that really is the main benefit, like the increased like
freedom,
joy.
Yeah. So
Freedom.
maybe what you do is you work with existing coaches who are at the level of 30 to 100 grand, and your promise is not I will get you 30,000 extra dollars, but I will get you 30 hours a week instead of 90 hours a week that you're doing, or 80 hours a week that you're doing, right? So your pitch doesn't come from a place of money, your pitch comes from a place of time. Because that's the wealth that they are looking for at this point. They are not looking for the money wealth because that they have figured out. Now you're saying, hey, I will tell you how to structure or restructure yourself, your courses, your programs, your offerings in a way that you will make twice as much money, but with half as much time.
That's good.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're addressing a very different market. But that's why you need to know your avatar. That's why you need to know your market maturity, is because the language in the conversation completely switched the moment you said, I don't want to work with this particular set of people because my competence is not in this area, my competence is on this area, this is what people I like to work with. Well, your conversation completely changed, your headline completely changed right there. Cool, but that's why it's important. And even once you're done with this exercise, go ahead and go one step deeper and try to see if you can put a name and you can put a face to that person. Like I said, Debbie in the starting, it doesn't have to be Debbie, whatever she is. You go and put that, because once that happens, you're having a conversation with that person. You will know exactly what that person looks like. You will know exactly how their house looks like. You know exactly how their lifestyle looks like, how they wake up. Do they wake up groggy? Then you can address that in a video saying, do you wake up because last night you couldn't sleep because you're so freaking stressed out of your mind, right? So those are things that we want. More we know of it, the better it is for us to be able to serve at this point. Because also remember, you're serving at this point. You're giving them that education that you're getting them to hear something that they really need to hear, but nobody's telling them in some way. So you want to make sure that you know who you're talking to at this point. Cool. So go ahead and do that exercise again. I think when you'll do it alone with your peace of mind, you would be able to write it down much better. More you write, the better it is. What I would also do, one more thing that I like to do, and it is a little bit hard at your business point because we don't know your exact list and everything. But what we want to do is we want to be able to create predictable revenue at some point, which simply means this is, if you say I want to create, say, 300K, okay? What you want to identify is how many people do I need to be able to do 300K. So you need 100 clients, right? Right? How many people should come to your sales page for 100 people or how many people should call you to get 100 clients? For example, let's say you close at 50%, okay? You will go, okay, I need to get 200 phone calls. Okay? Now to get 200 phone calls, how many people need to be on your list that are interacting with you? I'm going to make a hypothetical assumption, and I will be super conservative. You don't have to be, but I will go conservative. 5% of your total list size will be willing to talk to you on the phone. Let's say 5% of your total audience, right? 5% is, let's make 10% for the ease of math because I'm not able to calculate. So 10% means 2,000 people need to be on your call, right?
Yeah.
2,000 people need to sign up with you.
This would be the number of people who opted in through that landing page.
Exactly. That means if your landing page is converting at 50%, 4,000 people need to show up to that landing page.
Okay.
All right. This is how you create predictable revenue, 300,000. Right? Now, the more these numbers will change, the more this number will change. So if you're not able to get 4,000 people to visit the page at 50% conversion, at 10% conversion to the phone, you would probably need 8,000 people because this conversion has dropped. Usually I would say this would be easy, this will be hard. So 10% of people to get in to call you is hard. So I would say make this a little bit more reasonable. I don't know how much should this be. If it's 5%, then here should be 4,000, here should be 8,000, something like that. Right? So now what you will do is you go, okay, how do I create 8,000 people on my list? Now you're going to go, or people to hit my page, you will go, okay, who do I partner with? Who do I call? Who do I do webinars with? You know, like you could do webinars, cool webinars, all that kind of stuff, and drive people here. How much I need to invest on Facebook, right? At your juncture, I don't know. So I don't want to comment because I usually like this path because I can test and I am at my own comfort. And with Facebook, you can just ninja target everybody. So I usually just go with this, even if it's a little bit slower sometimes. I just go, I'll rather pay in money than pay in time because this whole things take a lot of time. So
and do you think it's possible, literally just through Facebook ads, to get 8,000 people to opt in?
Fuck yeah. In your niche, coaching,
Okay.
Just I mean, you have a fan page? Do you have a fan page? Yeah. So first you can target through your fan page. I don't know how many fans you have, but what you can also do is friends of your fans, which is related audience. And then what you can do is you can target people who you think address the same audience. For example, in your scenario, and I don't know why I'm saying this, but I have a fan page called EverCoach, which is about 7,500 fans, and they are all coaches. You can just target EverCoach. And if you target EverCoach, you have all 7,000 people who are your potential buyers, right? And there will be, there are way more than EverCoach that are out there. If you have the money, you can target Brendan Burchard, who talks to experts and coaches, but he will be fucking expensive because he has 2 million fans and they are all over the place. So he does have experts, but he also has those people. So you don't want to address him. But there is a guy called Ted McGrath. There's so many people out there who address experts and coaches, and they work with them. Pick the ones that you think have the audience that you want. For example, for you, Marie Forleo might be a big one because she has experts, coaches, and fitness instructors. Who else? Who else does? I'm sure if you do a quick research on female coaching people, you'll find a lot of them. Yeah. So,
like Christy Kraszkowski, and I've done this before a couple times. So Christy
Whitman, Marie Forleo, probably Gabriel was saying this meditation. There's so many. Like we could just like if you Google and search it, you'll just find everybody that you have ever followed. Just target their audience. Simple. And you should get 8,000 to 10,000 visitors. Should be easy. It'll happen over a course of 15, 20 days, but doesn't matter. And you will set it all up in autopilot, by the way. Yeah. So everything.
How much budget would I?
I to get that? Say $8,000 to $10,000.
$8,000 to $10,000. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you 8,000 to 10,000, you'll probably not get 8,000 people. Let's take your cost. I mean, if you do really good targeting and your ads really convert, maybe you can get $1 a lead. But in the coaching business, I'm guessing you won't be able to get $1 a lead. You would at least pay $2 to $3 a lead. So for 8,000 into 3 is what you are looking at. But at the same time, I don't want to say that you want to. So that's why also you want to maybe go 300K. Yes, that's my goal. But in my first launch, I do only 100K. All right, now you have the money to be able to drive as much you want. I'm just being smart. Like, I mean, I don't go and I go ahead and spend $30,000 in buying leads. I start with $500. But at the same point in time, because the system just feeds itself after a point, yes, I'm not making profit in the first 3 months of the business, but I make huge profits the moment I add one more program to my whole system. So just to give you a case study, when we started EverCoach, we didn't make any money for the first 3 months. But overall, in the course of past 9 months, I've done about $500,000, and I have clocked a very, very decent profit on it. Because what I did is first program didn't make money, but the moment I added one more, I was 100% profitable because these people now knew me, liked me, had the results with me. Now I had to just introduce one more program, and this was 100% profit. Make sense?
Yeah.
So you could follow that path as well. I'm just saying as an idea. I'm not saying that's the way to go. It's your choice, what you feel comfortable with. Cool?
Right.
Was this good to see me, Sumi?
Super cool. Super awesome. Yeah.
Are we clear? A little bit more? A little bit better?
I think so. I think I know that like my copy on my sales page that I was writing is probably a bit too broad. Like I'm going to go in there and like get things a little bit more specific and do this outline of my exact video topics. I think that's super helpful. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. Cool. I'm glad that it helped. Any last questions that you might have?
Just your sort of feedback. This 6-month program, if I do take it down to like a lower number of like lower goal, let's say, and say my goal, okay, so 50 people I want to enroll or whatever, then you condense the program and like, well, I don't know. I mean, I still have to provide the value for 3K, so I have to figure that out. But I'm thinking like if it was only a 3-month program or something, it would give me more time to play with it for like adding the next like step 2 of the program or something like that, you know?
Yes, that is definitely the case, but at the same point in time, I wouldn't compromise on the quality that you deliver because that also these 50 people that you'll work with, they should be absolutely like fucking in love with you. Because if that's not the case, then it's not going to work out on the long term. It'll work only on the short term. So if you want to, I mean, if I am doing, I play full out. I don't try to play half. So what I can do is you can structure your classes in a way that you can open the program every 2 months or 3 months in the first round. So it might be, yes, a little bit tight, but let's say every 3 months you're opening the program. So you're kind of like there are 3 months of busyness and 3 months of calm in some way. And that will allow you to fill in the first 100, 200, 300 clients. But know that the once, and if you have the $30,000 and you want to go knock yourself out, you can do it. But if you don't want to put in the $30,000 just to drive ads, what I would do is start the first phase and then let the second phase become, and it's like the rolling ball, right? Because now you have more investment you can make in the business. So there's a friend of mine who plays in a similar field. She runs a year-long program and she charges $10,000 for it. And when she started with just 20, 30 clients. Right now she enrolls 100 clients every time, 200 clients every time. So that's $2 million every time she would open the program. But that's because she has done this work for 3 to 5 years. So just this particular program, she has done this for 3 years. So now the snowball effect is as much as 6 million every year because she does 3 rounds of it. So you know how it can go. It can go as broad because you've got the result in the first go and you've nailed the program. You know exactly what needs to be delivered. Most of it is delivered automatically because you've created the trainings and whatever. Only some part of it is live, which allows you and gives you the freedom. But it does take a little bit of build time, yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Exciting.
Awesome.
Really excited.
Fantastic.
Thank you
I
so
am super excited to see what your results are. Let me know when your pages are up. I'd love to look at it and give some feedback there as well. Okay. And thank you so much for coming on the call at this time for you. It's like, I think, 11 p.m. or something, right?
Well, it's definitely worth it. Appreciate it.
Cool. Have a good day. Bye. Good night. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye.